Evolving threat of terrorism. Let's take a look at the headlines first. Indian government declares Delhi's Red Fort blast a terror incident, exposes new white-collar jihad network. Islamabad court attack leaves 12 dead, dozens injured. And India warns UNSC on illicit arms trafficking and cross-border terror. Terror struck at the heart of India's capital on November 10th evening. A massive car explosion outside Delhi's historic Red Fort has left at least 13 people dead and scores injured, jolting the nation and exposing a new dimension in the country's threat landscape. What makes this attack particularly alarming is the emergence of an unsuspected network involving radicalized educated professionals, a sophisticated white-collar terror module that has stunned investigators. As probes unfold, all roads appear to lead once again to Pakistan's Jaish-e-Mohammed, the same outfit behind the parliament and Pulwama attacks.
It was 6:52 p.m. on November 10th, a busy evening near New Delhi's Red Fort metro station. A white Hyundai i20 car stuck at a red light amid heavy traffic suddenly exploded. Within seconds, the historic district turned into a war zone. Flames engulfed vehicles, shattered glass littered the streets, and the air was thick with smoke and screams. Eyewitnesses described it as a scene straight out of a nightmare. Bodies strewn across the road and the city's iconic monument shrouded in chaos.
सबके चेहरे पे खुशहाली थी। अचानक आपने वो वीडियो देखा ही होगा, अचानक एक ब्लास्ट होता है। उस ब्लास्ट में फिर पता नहीं क्या हुआ, चीखें, चिल्लाना, आग, ये सारी चीज़ें भगदड़ मच जाती है। और जो चेहरे पे खुशी थी, सबके चेहरे उदास हो चुके थे। अब वो ऐसी चीज़ हुई, मैं बहुत ज़्यादा घबरा चुका था।
हम लोग वहाँ पे वीडियो रिकॉर्ड कर रहे थे, अचानक मतलब कि धमाका हुआ और पूरा भगदड़ सी मच गई, और इस तरह भगदड़ मची कि ऐसा लगा कि पूरा लाल किला उड़ गया है।
Within hours, Delhi police registered a case under the UAPA and Explosives Act, with the National Investigation Agency stepping in. A grid search was launched, and forensic experts from the FSL and NSG began combing the site for clues.
अभी एफआईआर दर्ज हो चुकी है कोतवाली पुलिस स्टेशन के अंदर। इसमें यूएपीए एक्सप्लोजिव्स एक्ट और भारतीय न्याय संहिता की धाराओं के अंतर्गत ये मुकदमा दर्ज कर लिया गया है। इसकी जांच बहुत ही तीव्र गति से आगे बढ़ रही है। इसमें सीन ऑफ क्राइम के ऊपर आप लोग देख सकते हैं, एफएसएल की टीम है, दिल्ली पुलिस की टीम है, एनएसजी की टीम्स भी हैं जो यहाँ पे सीन ऑफ क्राइम को एग्जामिन कर रही हैं और उसकी ग्रिड सर्च कर रहे हैं। उसके बाहर भी देख रहे हैं कि कहीं कोई एविडेंसेस, कुछ पार्ट्स, कुछ ट्रेसेस मिल रहे हैं, उनको वो लोग लिफ्ट कर रहे हैं। उसके बेसिस पे जो आप लोग सबको पूछ रहे हो कि क्या एक्सप्लोजिव था, वो एफएसएल वाले अपनी लैब में जांच करके उसकी पुष्टि कर पाएंगे। तो अभी इसके अलावा और कोई भी फैक्ट जो है वो बहुत ही प्रीमेच्योर है उसके बारे में बताना। इन्वेस्टिगेशन इज ऑनगोइंग। देयर आर मेनी एजेंसीज ऑफ दिल्ली पुलिस एंड अदर एजेंसीज आर वर्किंग ऑन इट।
What began as a car blast has now exposed a complex terror web spanning Delhi, Faridabad and Jammu and Kashmir. At the center of this network is Dr. Umar Mohammad Nabi, a 40-year-old doctor from Pulwama who taught at Al Falah University in Faridabad. Dr. Nabi, officials say, was killed in explosion, possibly while trying to escape a series of police raids in Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir that had already led to 8 arrests, including 3 other doctors. This revelation has given birth to a disturbing new phrase in India's counterterrorism lexicon: white-collar terrorism, where educated professionals are radicalized and repurposed as covert operatives. The probe took a major turn when investigators recovered nearly 3,000 kilograms of explosives from multiple sites in Faridabad. Al Falah University, where Dr. Nabi worked, is now under the scanner for possible financial links to banned organizations. Officials confirm the Red Fort car blast was preceded by a 20-day investigation into Jaish-e-Mohammed, the Pakistan-based terror outfit led by Masood Azhar, whose name is synonymous with cross-border terror.
The cabinet unequivocally condemns this dastardly and cowardly act that has led to the loss of innocent lives. The cabinet directs that the investigation into the incident be pursued with the utmost urgency and professionalism so that the perpetrators, their collaborators, and their sponsors are identified and brought to justice without delay.
Intelligence agencies are now piecing together evidence that links this attack to Jaish-e-Mohammed's network in Bahawalpur, Pakistan. The same hub that orchestrated the 2001 Parliament attack and the 2019 Pulwama bombing. Despite years of diplomatic warnings, Pakistan's deep state continues to shelter and fund Jaish-e-Mohammed, allowing it to rebrand and recruit educated operatives across the border. Analysts believe this educated face of terror is Pakistan's latest attempt to evade international scrutiny by using professionals who blend seamlessly into civilian life. The Delhi government has announced Rs 10 lakh compensation for each victim's family, while security has tightened across the capital. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, speaking from Bhutan, called the attack a horrific incident that has deeply saddened everyone, vowing that those responsible will be brought to justice.
मैं कल रात भर इस घटना की जांच में जुटी सभी एजेंसियों के साथ, सभी महत्वपूर्ण लोगों के साथ संपर्क में था, विचार विमर्श चलता था, जानकारियों के तार जोड़े जा रहे थे। हमारी एजेंसियां इस षड्यंत्र की तह तक जाएगी। इसके पीछे के षड्यंत्रकारियों को बख्शा नहीं जाएगा। All those responsible will be brought to justice.
The Red Fort bombing is more than just a terror strike. It is a symbol of Pakistan's continued defiance of international norms, its weaponization of education through radicalization, and its long-standing obsession with striking India's symbols of sovereignty. Even as the NIA widens its net, one thing is clear: the battlefield of terror is no longer in the mountains of Kashmir alone. It is in classrooms, universities, and professional spaces, quietly spreading its influence under the garb of intellect.
At the United Nations Security Council, India has once again spotlighted the alarming nexus between illicit arms trafficking and cross-border terrorism. Addressing an open debate on small arms and light weapons, India's permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador Parvathaneni Harish, called on the growing sophistication of terror networks that rely on illegal weapons to sustain violence. In a strong and deliberate message, India urged the global community to adopt a zero-tolerance policy, not just towards terror groups, but also towards the states that arm, enable, and protect them. The deadly explosion in India's capital city, New Delhi, this week, which claimed over a dozen lives, serves as a grim reminder of how terrorism continues to strike at the heart of India. Investigations point towards familiar patterns: sophisticated explosives, imported weapon components, and coordination typical of cross-border terror operations. While India mourned yet another act of terrorism, its envoy at the United Nations made it clear that the problem runs far deeper, one that begins with the unchecked flow of small arms and ammunition across borders, aided by organized trafficking networks and state complicity.
India has fought the scourge of terrorism for several decades. and is therefore aware of the dangers posed by the diversion and illicit transfer of small arms and ammunition to armed non-state actors and terrorist groups. The illicit trafficking of small arms...
At the Security Council, Ambassador Harish drew direct attention to how illicit arms flows sustain terrorist organizations operating across South Asia. Without naming Pakistan, his remarks clearly pointed to the long-standing pattern of state-sponsored terrorism emanating from across India's western border. From the use of smuggled rifles in Kashmir to drone-drop weapons in Punjab, India's envoy underscored that Pakistan continues to remain a key conduit for weapon traffickers and extremist groups alike.
India has suffered due to cross-border terrorism carried out using illicit weapons trafficked across our borders, including now through the use of drones. The increase in the volume and sophistication of such arsenals reminds us that these groups cannot sustain themselves without being enabled, financed, or supported. An integrated approach to small arms and light weapons...
India's message carried a strong warning that the illicit trafficking of small arms is not an isolated criminal problem, but a direct enabler of terrorism and geopolitical instability. For decades, India has faced the brunt of Pakistan's proxy warfare, where terrorists armed with trafficked weapons have targeted civilians, security forces, and vital infrastructure. New Delhi argues that such flows cannot exist without the silent sanction of those who provide safe havens, financing, and logistical cover to these groups. At the heart of India's intervention was a demand for accountability. Ambassador Harish emphasized that arms embargoes, key tools authorized by the Security Council, must be applied objectively without political selectivity. India's concern stems from years of seeing these mechanisms weakened by geopolitical considerations, which allow states like Pakistan to escape scrutiny despite their continued involvement in armed terror groups across borders.
The Security Council must continue to uphold a zero-tolerance approach to terrorism in all its forms and manifestations, and to those who facilitate, sponsor, finance, or enable the use and movement of such weapons.
New Delhi's statement at the UNSC reflects a broader regional reality that terrorism in South Asia cannot survive without cross-border enablers. For decades, Pakistan has played both arsonist and firefighter, publicly denouncing terrorism even as its soil hosts groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed, both sanctioned by the UN. These outfits rely on the illegal flow of small arms, light weapons, and explosives to sustain their operations. By calling out the nexus between state-backed terror and arms trafficking, India is pushing the UN to confront a problem the world can no longer ignore.
Let me reiterate India's firm commitment in preventing the misuse of small arms and light weapons by terrorist groups, and thereby continue to contribute in the global fight against terrorism.
Another deadly reminder of Pakistan's crumbling internal security. A powerful explosion ripped through a judicial complex in Islamabad, killing at least 12 and injuring dozens. The blast, reportedly a suicide attack, comes at a time when Pakistan continues to face mounting threats from resurgent terrorist groups, even as its leadership tries to shift blame beyond its borders.
A powerful explosion shook Pakistan's capital. The target this time, a bustling court complex in Islamabad. The bomber, according to officials, tried to enter the court premises but detonated the explosives outside near a police vehicle after waiting for nearly 15 minutes.
यहाँ कचहरी के ऊपर एक खुदकश हमला हुआ है और वो हमला अब आप देख सकते हैं कि जितना यहाँ पे नुकसान हुआ है उसमें अभी तक 12 लोग जो हैं वो शहीद हो चुके हैं और 27 के करीब जख्मी हैं.
Visuals from the site painted a grim picture. Lawyers in blood-soaked coats, shattered glass and debris scattered across the compound. The blast, heard kilometers away, damaged multiple vehicles and sent panic rippling through the city.
एक ज़ोरदार धमाके की आवाज़ आई है, बहुत बड़ा ब्लास्ट हुआ है और मुड़ के देखा तो बस आग ही आग थी और पार्ट्स ऑफ बॉडी थे बिखरे पड़े, डेड बॉडीज़ थी और शोले आग के बुलंदी पे थे, तो खौफ रास का मामला था। तो उसके बाद फिर पुलिस आ गई, सिक्योरिटीज़ आ गई, हम साइड पे हो गए, लेकिन बहुत बड़ा ब्लास्ट था।
दिन 12 बजे से लेकर अब तक मेरे जहन में एक बोझ है और मेरे जहन में एक बड़ी तकलीफ़ है, एक उलझन सी है कि अगर वो अदालतें जहाँ पे हर आम वो ख़ास शख्स जहाँ पे दाखिल होता है और जिसकी मामला जो है यहाँ पे अदालत में हल होते हैं, अगर वो महफूज नहीं है तो फिर इस शहर में और कौन महफूज है। ये चीज़ बड़ी परेशान कुन है और जो आला अख्तियारात के लोग हैं उनको इसके ऊपर कोई ना कोई अमल करना चाहिए।
The attack occurred during peak court hours, when hundreds of visitors and lawyers were inside the complex. Forensic teams were rushed to the site as authorities struggled to determine the nature of explosion. Car bomb or suicide attack, both familiar tragedies in Pakistan's terror-stricken landscape.
सीसीटीवी फुटेज हमने जो देखी है उसमें वो बिल्कुल ऑपोजिट जाके खड़ा रहे और देखता रहे मुख्तलिफ एंगल से कि किस तरह अंदर जाऊं। तो और आपको पता है यहाँ पे कचहरी में हर बंदा जो जाता है उसकी चेकिंग होती है, तो उस लिहाज से वो अंदर नहीं जा सका, तो उसने फिर अपना नेक्स्ट टारगेट जो है वो पुलिस की गाड़ी को बनाया है। तो ये अब हमने पहली प्रायोरिटी में हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि उसको आइडेंटिफाई करें।
For many, this blast revives haunting memories of the 2023 Peshawar mosque bombing that killed more than 100 police personnel. Then too, the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan or TTP distanced itself even as a splinter faction claimed responsibility. This time, a terrorist group affiliated with the Pakistani Taliban reportedly claimed the Islamabad court attack, only for the TTP to deny any involvement once again. Such denials, analysts say, expose the deep fragmentation within Pakistan's militant network, a direct result of Islamabad's decade-old policy of nurturing extremist proxies for regional leverage. But instead of introspection, Pakistan's leadership has chosen its familiar path: blame India. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif was quick to accuse Indian terrorist proxies of orchestrating the attack without providing a shred of evidence. New Delhi dismissed the allegations as baseless and diversionary, calling them yet another attempt by Islamabad to deflect from its own governance and security failures. Even as Pakistan points fingers, the internal rot deepens. Its own security agencies, underfunded and demoralized, remain unable to contain a militant resurgence that has steadily crept from the tribal belt to major urban centers. Lawyers at the site spoke of fear and frustration, a grim reflection of how terror has become an everyday reality for ordinary Pakistanis.
इस खौफ की फ़ज़ा को ख़त्म करना हमें ज़रूर ख़त्म करना चाहिए और कोशिश करनी चाहिए कि हम सब लॉयर्स इकट्ठे हों और यकजहती का इजहार करें आपस में, और जो हमारी सिक्योरिटी लैब्स हैं उनको कवर अप करने के लिए उनको हाईलाइट करें ताकि वो कवर अप हो सके।
The attack also comes amid rising tensions with Afghanistan. Islamabad's recent cross-border drone strikes and Kabul's retaliatory fire have already escalated hostilities. With the fragile ceasefire brokered by Qatar barely holding, Pakistan now finds itself trapped in the violence it once exported.
Even as India continues to battle the scourge of cross-border terrorism, a shocking revelation has emerged from the heart of the capital. The Delhi car bomb blast case has exposed a new breed of terrorists, educated, radicalized, and allegedly linked to Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed. The arrest of Dr. Umar Muhammad Nabi, a well-qualified professional accused of orchestrating this plot, reveals how Pakistan's terror infrastructure is now breeding white-collar jihadists. To discuss this evolving threat and its implications for regional security, I am joined by SP Vaid, former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir Police and a defense expert. Hello, sir. Welcome to Newsweek South Asia. So my first question is, the blast near Delhi's Red Fort has shaken the capital and raised serious questions about security and cross-border terror links. Could you first explain what we know so far about the incident and why investigators believe this was a deliberate, planned attack?
Picking up the investigation professionally, they were able to zero on a Maulvi on whose instruction this was being done, and also an employee of the medical college. On his disclosure, the names of some of the doctors figured, and the chain went up to Saharanpur, then Faridabad, Medical College, Anantnag. Recoveries were made. So a whole module, a network of doctors was unearthed, and they were all arrested. On their disclosure, huge quantity of explosive, over 2,900 kgs of ammonium nitrate, which can be used as an explosive material, and also AK series rifles were recovered, I think 2 or 3, and some pistol, a lot of arms ammunition was recovered. Now, Jaish-e-Mohammed is a terror outfit based in Pakistan. Who is the creator of Jaish-e-Mohammed? It's the ISI of Pakistan. So the whole module actually is linked to Jaish-e-Mohammed, and that's why it traces back to Pakistan's ISI, Pakistan, the handler who was handling all these doctors, how they were radicalized. It is a well-planned conspiracy for huge terror network, creating mayhem. Probably, as per the interrogation reports, on 6th of December, when anniversary of Babri Masjid actually falls, and I think they were intending to create huge terror incidents, not only in Delhi, in all other parts of India, other cities of India, including Ayodhya, and planning to have massive casualties all across the country. So I think it was a well-planned terror module of doctors and others who were basically working at the instructions of Pakistan handlers. Yes.
The Delhi car bomb blast case has revealed that the main accused, Dr. Umar Nabi, was a medical professional. How do you see the phenomena of educated radicalization, where individuals with professional backgrounds get drawn into Islamist extremism?
See, that is very perplexing and very challenging for the security forces. A doctor is a highly qualified doctor, postgraduate, not only Dr. Umar, but other doctors also. And doctors are like scientists, highly qualified, rational mind, intelligent people. Earlier we used to see that the argument used to be that madrasa turned unemployed Muslim youths were getting radicalized. That is not true. This radicalization has actually involved highly qualified doctors who take oath to protect the humanity, protect the individuals, and they have turned from a doctor to a butcher. So it is a huge challenge to the security establishment of India. That's what I think we must go into, how Pakistan ISI is radicalizing such a qualified section of society who are doctors, who have rational mind, who are well educated.
The Delhi car blast follows a familiar pattern. Sleeper cells, hybrid warfare, cross-border handlers. Is this part of Pakistan's new terror doctrine designed to hit Indian cities while denying involvement?
I think Pakistan this time has, the ISI has very cleverly chosen this terror module of doctors with without sending their own people from Pakistan, without sending arms and ammunition from Pakistan, which earlier they used to do in many of the terror incidents in Delhi and other parts of the country, since they were desperate that after Shri Narendra Modi's government in 2014, they were not able to execute major terror incidents in Delhi and other parts of the country, the hinterland of India, the mainland of India, other than Kashmir. Even Kashmir, they have their network was actually to a very large extent broken by the security grid. But this time they have used local boys, Kashmiri boys, who are our own boys, that too highly qualified doctors. And this module, even the ammonium nitrate, which is actually locally procured. So this particular cleverly established terror module of doctors has been used by Pakistan Intelligence Agency very cleverly, using our own human resource, using our own material source, without sending Pakistan, so that you are not able to trace Pakistan angle in this. But interrogation has revealed that these doctors have been going to Turkey, where handler has been, a Pakistani handler has been in touch with them. I think the traces will emerge as the investigation progresses. Yes.
How complicit do you think the ISI and Pakistan's military establishment are in sustaining these covert urban networks in India?
There is no doubt about Pakistan's complicity. Pakistan is getting encouraged with, if a rogue army chief, now CDS of Pakistan, Field Marshal, Fraud Marshal, some people call him, Asim Munir, have lunch with President Trump. You can imagine the kind of encouragement such a terror mind will get. So obviously he is getting encouraged with such moves by America. Already such elements have encouragement from China. So they must be thinking that we can, today is the time that we can do whatever we want with India, but they must understand India is not India of 1990s. This India of 2025, Operation Sindoor is in action. That is made very clear by our Honorable Prime Minister and Defense Minister. I don't think anybody can take India lightly, and very clear policy that any terror incident here would be taken as an act of war.
Thank you so much for giving us your time, sir. And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Newsweek South Asia. We'll be back next week with more news, views and analysis from the subcontinent. Meanwhile, do keep writing to us at nwsa@anin.com. This is Shivangi Mishra signing off on behalf of the entire team of Newsweek South Asia. Goodbye and take care.